coffee and headphones. My name is Caleb.
There was a car outside of my window. My apologies. My name is Trevor.
And this is a podcast where brothers talk about cars. Not just playing. We talk about brother things, and we're not really car guys, but we are basketball guys. And the NBA season is
Right.
coming back next week, a week from today when
Let's
we're recording
go.
this. So naturally, we had to come back and give a little standings prediction. How you want to tackle this, Trevor? You want to do like alphabetical Eastern Conference first, Western Conference first?
Yeah, we can do that. That works.
Okay. East first then?
If we're going alphabetical, shouldn't we start with the Cavaliers?
No. It's by teams, by like cities.
Oh,
That's how it was on Wikipedia at least. So that's why I wrote it down that way.
yeah. Well, don't look at me like I'm crazy because
Well, you
obviously
are
C comes
crazy.
before H.
Yeah. Also,
So go
if
ahead.
we're going by team names, shouldn't we start with the Bulls?
Yeah, okay. You're right.
Oh, dang, I lost my
You
phone.
got
We're
me
off to a
there.
rough start. If you are a Star Wars fan, you should go check out our Ahsoka review that we did last week.
Yeah.
Good engagement on there. We appreciate everyone chiming in with their comments and their theories. That was really cool, and we had a blast recording that one. Honestly, don't want to give too much away, but both really enjoyed the show. Go check it out.
Hmm.
Okay, Trevor, how do you wanna start? You want me to start?
You can start.
Gotta start off with the Atlanta Hawks, because we're doing this alphabetically by city. And A is the first letter of the alphabet. So for the
Good
Hawks,
job, Caleb.
thank you, bro. Do you believe I graduated high school 5 years ago
Ah,
now or something like that?
you graduated a high school.
I graduated. Technically, I never got my diploma, but I did
Well,
finish. I did
there we go.
I did my exams. All right, so for the Hawks, I have them as the 7 seed going into the season.
Okay.
This one was hard. I will say, bro, this was probably the hardest year to do a standings prediction because what do the standings even mean anymore?
This was the hardest rankings video I've done on here.
Yeah,
And that includes like the very first one where it was Drake
Drake
albums
albums,
to Office
Star Wars
shows,
music.
which is wild.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I
but anyways,
I threw
would
the
you have them at
Hawks.
8,
No, 7 because I could
7?
see last year they finished 7, right? Because they won the play-in game against the Heat and they played the Celtics in the first round. But I could see this team, they were very mid last year, 41 and 41. In a perfect world, I could see Trey Young bringing them to 50 wins. I've always believed in him, and I probably always will. And Quinn Snyder, new coach, talking about if you don't play defense, you're not playing, period. So I think Trey Young's going to try a little bit more on that end. DeJounte Murray, another year to build chemistry. They did lose John Collins. Clint Capella's a year older. Okongwu hasn't really taken that step. Like we've seen flashes of him being a Bam Adebayo type defender, but he hasn't really done that consistently. I think he could. So I could see them winning 50 games. I could also see them missing the play-in tournament. The East is pretty good at the
Yeah,
bottom right now. So I just went kind of in the middle there and stuck them at the 7 seed.
that's fair. I mean, I honestly almost completely agree. I put them at 8 for a couple of reasons. One, it is really hard. Like the East has like an obvious top 5, I would say, and an obvious bottom like 3, but everything in between that's very different.
Mm,
For depending on who you talk to.
mm.
So I like the Hawks. They did lose John Collins, which, um, as you said, maybe not the biggest deal, but I think it will be.
He's a
Just
good player, man.
because he's a good player and there's not a lot to replace that. Clint Capella is good too, but they're different.
Right.
Um, I really like Trey Young. I think Trey Young has the ability to take them a little farther, but also we got to remember the rest of the East changed too.
Yeah.
So that's why I have them
Yep.
at number 8.
Yeah, they're kind of in that same tier, not to give too much away right now, but kind of that same tier as like the Bulls and Raptors, where And if everything breaks perfectly, they can be better than last year. But most of the teams in the East did get better, and they didn't. So it really depends. I
Yeah.
think Quinn Snyder will see what kind of coach he really is. In Utah, he got regular season results, and we're just predicting the regular season here. So I think he'll help a bit. But moving on, the next team would be the Celtics, and I have the
Mhm.
Celtics as the 1 seed going into this year.
Oh, we can't go like
Oh, you want to do it?
the snake draft.
Okay, well
Yeah, we
you
can't
do it. You
snake
do it
draft
then. You start. Forget what I said.
it. No, it's okay. I mean, I have the Celtics as number two.
Okay.
So I think the Celtics should be the number one seed in the East when it's all said and done. But do I think they're going to be the number one seed? Probably not. There's a team or two that I think could be above them. Celtics are really good. Basically, their important players are still there,
Yep.
and
And they got better.
yeah, and they got better. Who did they pick up?
Drew
Um,
Holiday,
mhm.
Porzingis. They lost Marcus Smart, Grant Williams, two defensive guys, but Drew Holiday is one of the better defenders in the league. They lost Robert Williams to another defensive big who couldn't stay healthy, replaced him with a offensive big who can't stay healthy. But Porzingis had a great year last year. So we'll see
Yeah.
what
Oh,
happens.
I will give a disclaimer. This is based off of all the trade knowledge that I know. Caleb's gonna know more than I do about that because I not gonna lie, I
Bro did
am
not do
full
his
force
research.
NBA. No, I'm full force NBA when it's like NBA season, and I always talk about the Nuggets year long. But I don't keep up with the trades before the preseason starts. So I'm just now looking at a lot of these because people get hurt, people get traded, etc.
Hmm.
But anyway,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean Boston kept their important people, Tatum, Brown,
Yep. They
Malcolm
gave
Brogdon's still there.
Jaylen Brown the bag, 300 mil.
Yeah,
Crazy.
so we'll see if Jalen Brown learned to dribble with his left hand,
That'd be
the
huge.
Celtics will be number one.
They'll be the
If he hasn't
champs.
learned that, the Celtics will not be number
Nah, it's true. It's true. You had them two, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So 2-1. I mean, really, the top two teams in the Eastern Conference are interchangeable, but I think they're the clear two teams above the rest. Uh, Next is the Nets. So I do take this one, right? I go first.
go ahead,
Okay.
dog. Yeah,
The Nets was another team that I was like, how
so
good are
hard
they?
for me.
It was
Yeah,
hard
hard for me.
because we saw what they did with Mikal Bridges. I mean, obviously he looked great after the trade. They extended Cam Johnson. Nick Claxton's still there. Ben Simmons looks pretty good in the preseason. So, however much you want to add to
That's
that,
another podcast for sure.
hey, bro,
But
I'm betting on Ben Simmons this year. Not a lot of money, but like $5 I'll throw
yeah,
on.
that's a lot of faith, bro.
I have the Nets as the 10 seed.
Okay.
I don't think they're bad enough to be like a bottom tier team. I don't think they're good enough to contend or be like a top six lock for the playoffs. So I think
Yeah.
10 works for them, but I'm open to hearing like, what did you think? This was a hard team for me, really was.
You're good. It was for me too. I think we must be related because I have them at number 11.
Okay.
So we're
So
pretty
every
on
team I've
par.
said so far, you're one down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have a surprise in here that I think you may be shocked to have them high. But anyway, Brooklyn. Listen, it's New York.
Hmm.
Y'all are always going to be on the map, but maybe not necessarily the best. And I love Mikal Bridges. I think Mikal Bridges is really good, but I think he has developing to do. And I think he needs somebody with him, like a
Yeah.
superstar with him.
Yeah,
So
for
he's like a
sure.
Jamal Murray to Nikola Jokic. He needs the two person.
Right. He was
Um,
great behind Booker. You don't really want to measure number one guy.
I really like him though. I don't want to discredit him because I think he's
Mhm.
at least a number two guy.
Yeah, he could be an
Um,
all-star this year for sure.
but Nick Collins, Nick Claxton,
Yeah.
that's it. Nick Claxton.
Nick Collins was
I
15
always been a
years
fan
ago,
of.
bro.
Yeah, my bad. My bad. I've been playing hoop grid, so
Ah,
got me a little messed up. But yeah, that's where I have them.
yeah.
Who would be next?
Yeah.
Chicago?
Well, I will say just real quick about Claxton, all defensive guy. A lot of talk about him not making it last year because people weren't really watching the Nets games after KD and Kyrie left. But I think Claxton could have an all defensive year, definitely a defensive impact. And I'm excited. Also they have um, Cam Thomas, hoopers like that who are just like they can ball. So it'll be a fun team regardless. But next, yeah, that's the Hornets. You want to go ahead and start with the Hornets?
The Hornets, they are dead last for me.
Are they?
So, yeah, not a lot of faith in the Hornets. I think we're gonna see what we've been seeing. I don't know of any major changes in Charlotte,
I don't know of any
and
positive changes in Charlotte, but I know they had a busy offseason.
that's what I mean. Positive charges, yeah. Shout
Charges.
out, Ty Jones. Yeah. The Hornets
Brandon
are a
Miller.
mess. Yeah, the Brandon Miller. But here's the thing: the Hornets are a mess. They're not that good of a team talent wise. They don't play congruent. Um,
Like
they
the other
don't
teams.
look like they're on the same page,
Right.
and then they have off the court issues.
Yeah.
I don't see a world where Charlotte finishes above 12 this year. If they do, great. But yeah, I have them very last.
Yeah. Man, the Hornets 2 years ago, not last year, year before last, they won 44 games. Do you remember that happening?
Yeah, but I remember the NBA was in a much different spot.
That was LaMelo All-Star. That was
Hmm.
Miles Bridges ascension. They had chemistry. That's the last time you saw any Hornets on the same page, to your point.
Yeah.
I have them as 13. So I think like I believe in LaMelo. I believe in LaMelo and Lonzo a lot. Last year he only played like I think it was 32 games, but it was freak injuries. It's not like a real injury concern with them. He stepped on a fan's ankle twice and rolled his ankle, and then they probably
Crazy.
kept
The
him out a bit
conspiracy.
longer for tank reasons. Brandon
Hmm.
Miller, we'll see if he was the right choice over Scoop. I know neither of us really
I
think
don't think
so,
so.
but we'll
I don't
see.
think so.
And then yeah, Kai Jones, Miles Bridges, James Booknight, like, come on,
Yeah,
man. I know they have a whole new ownership put in place now. Jordan's out. He gave J. Cole the bad stepchild. So we'll see what happens there. But
they're good.
I don't know. I think they they got to be a little bit better than last year, but I don't think it's going to be like more than marginal. Gordon Hayward, is he going to play? Are they going to try to trade him? Can they trade him? Terry Rozier, same thing. Are they going to try to trade him? These guys are okay basketball players. They're decent. They just don't play a lot. And the players who do
They're not
play a
doing
lot,
good in Charlotte.
right? I,
They're
I
not.
would say
I mean,
Charlotte's most
Terry Rozier has
consistent.
been, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Charlotte's most consistent player right now who doesn't get injured is probably PJ Washington, who's a good
yeah.
player. But he's not like a guy that you want to
He's a
build
good
your
player, but
franchise
let's
around.
say if he was on the top five teams in either conference, he would be coming off the bench.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I think he's a good plug and play player. Um, I was kind of expecting him to leave this summer because he was a free agent, but they brought him back.
Hmm.
They believe in him. I think he works with LaMelo well, but it's not gonna be a fun year for the Hornets. Maybe they prove us wrong, but I wouldn't expect anything crazy out of them.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. All
All
right.
right, up next we do have the Bulls. It's my turn to start.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Bulls, and listen, I'm being as unbiased as possible. I have the Bulls number two. No, I'm just playing. I have the Bulls number 8 this year. Um,
Okay.
they were 9 last year. Listen, they are going into the season not expecting Lonzo now. Last year it was a lot of wait and see. He'll be back in 4 weeks. He'll be back in 6 weeks. He'll be back in January. Never came back,
Yeah. They have
right?
a plan.
They have a
Yeah.
plan. They have a legitimate starting point guard. It looks like it's going to be Kobe White. He's been killing it in preseason, playing smart, not turning the ball over, which was always his issue. And of course, he's still a really good creator and shot maker. Pat Williams is the question. What are we getting from Pat? That was the question last year. It's the question again this year, and it will be until we get something from him. He was not extended this summer. They said, go improve it. We'll see what you can do. Make it worth our money. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
see. I think he's going to be playing empowered, but also it's the issue that, I mean, it's the same as last year, where he's playing behind three offensive guys. They extended Vooch, so he's back. DeMar is on his last year. He's talking like he wants to come back to the Bulls. We'll see. Chicago is kind of in a wait and see thing. If they start off hot out the gate, then they'll probably do their best to make more marginal improvements like Torrey Craig and Javon Carter, who they signed this summer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If they start off poorly, it's probably going to be how much is DeMar worth? How much is Vooch worth? Maybe how much is Zach worth? Because they turned down an offer from the Knicks last year, 3 first-round picks for Zach LaVine, supposedly. I'm not sure if that was ever confirmed, but that was a rumor out there around the trade deadline. So I think Zach, coming into the season healthy, he's going to be an all-star again. He's a two-time all-star, missed last year because he started off slow. DeMar probably going to be an all-star again. Vooch probably won't ever get back there, realistically, but they had the makings of a mediocre team, and that's why I think they'll be in the 8 seed this year.
That's fair. I think um for me what it comes down to is essentially what happened over this off season is for the most part good teams got better and then the bottom half sort of stayed the same. The Bulls are one of those teams where I think they've made enough move up to wiggle towards the top of that middle half.
Mhm.
So in surprising fashion, I have the Bulls number 7
Above me.
above you, which is crazy. Um, I have faith in the Bulls this year. As long as Zach can actually play well throughout the year, stay healthy, and then get double doubles out of Vooch and make sure those role players connect. I think Javon Carter and Torrey Craig are great pickups for
Yeah,
the
they're gonna
Bulls.
help.
Considering there wasn't much else you guys could have done besides
Right,
utilize the Lonzo thing, which you
right,
didn't, but that's
right.
another story. Uh,
Yeah,
I think they finished 7. I can't put them any higher. I could see them a little lower, but I don't think they'll finish like above 7. I think they could just make the playoffs
yeah.
or be that first play-in team
That's
again.
valid. That's totally fair. I mean, we do have all defensive first team guy in Caruso who will never hurt a team he's on. He was a
Yeah.
him and Pat Bev together last year helped us go 14-9 post All-Star break, which was big. And I think that should be enough of a morale boost. We did lose Pat Bev this offseason, but we brought in Javon Carter. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm not betting anything on this team as long as Billy Donovan is calling the shots here with the rotations. Also,
Mm,
this just broke this morning or maybe last night. We signed Derek Favors to a preseason deal, which is weird because we have Drummond, and you better not be trying to play both of those guys at the same time. So I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to offset the ridiculous number of combo guards we have. But that was just something I thought was a little bit questionable.
yeah.
Derek Favors is a
I
hog too.
never. Yeah, Derek Favors is an odd one, but we still have DeAndre Jordan, so hey, things
Yeah.
happen.
They brought the wrong
Um,
Derek.
all right, bro. So
So next is
who would be next?
the
Detroit,
Cavs. Um
the Cavs.
the
Oh yeah,
Cavs,
the
yeah.
Cavs. As much as I don't want to, I gotta give Donovan Mitchell credit that he deserves. He is a great basketball player. Um, Probably my least favorite in terms of quote unquote superstar because I don't think he's a superstar. I think he's just a really good basketball player that can score sometimes really high. With that being said, I think the Cavs have good pieces and for the most part, the same. starting five?
They brought in Max Strus, who will be starting
Okay,
at the three instead of Okora. So an upgrade in my book.
an upgrade for sure. So okay, I have them at five. So I
Okay.
know I was reading other ones and they had them a little higher.
Mhm.
But there's teams that I think are better than them that don't get the credit they deserve, and we'll talk about that. But I have the Cavs five. I think they'll be better standing. What were they last year?
They were four seed
Yeah.
last year.
Okay. So I think they'll be better standing in the playoffs this year than they were last
Yeah,
year.
they got annihilated last year in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
I I think they're getting out that first round pretty clean. And then
Hmm.
that second round go to seven, they'll lose. That's another video. But I think the Cavs are five.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I have them a bit higher at three. I do think, they made some upgrades. Max Strus is a
Mhm.
big signing. I honestly think he'll help a lot because their issue, they were like 27th or 28th in 3-point shooting last year, just attempts, because they were starting Okora, right, who doesn't have any offense. He's still there. He's just coming off the bench, which is a better role for him, I think. But yeah, I mean, it's Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell. They're
Mhm.
both, borderline all-star in Garland, and then Mitchell is a perennial all-star for sure. They did get exposed in the playoffs. The Knicks big boyed them. I think Mobley has to improve because he was a big like point of emphasis in that whole series. They were just leaving him. He couldn't do anything offensively because they already have a guy like that in Jared Allen. So one
Yeah.
of them will have to add something, and it should be Mobley, who was that fourth pick a while back. Bless you.
Sorry.
So I
Thank
do
you.
think, kind of to your point, they'll be better in the playoffs. But I think it will probably translate to regular season a bit more. So I have them as that third team. They were hard with another team that I'll talk about in a bit here. But yeah, who else did they add besides Max Strus? They grabbed someone else, right?
George Niang.
Yeah. Who's underrated, good shooter, killed the
Honestly, a good
Bulls.
pickup. He can shoot and he's a forward, so
A big body,
good pickup.
and he'll use it. All right.
And Sam Merrill, who I like, but he's on a 10-day or
Yeah.
was. I don't know. Anyways.
All
All
right.
right.
So next, that's the Detroit Pistons. I have the Pistons as the 14th seed. I do think they'll be a
Okay.
bit better than last year, but not by much.
Look.
It comes down to Cade, right? How does he
Yeah.
play? Does he play well?
Yeah.
Is he going to be that superstar a lot of people think? I never really had superstar written for Cade, to be honest,
Mhm.
but I think he's a good player. And we'll see.
I,
I think Jaden Ivey's the truth, though. I'll tell you
yeah.
that.
Yeah. I would say no disrespect, but there's no way this is respectful. I don't really want to waste time on the Pistons though.
All right, where you have him
Um,
then?
14.
Fair. All right, we said everything we need to. Monty Williams, new coach, could help a
Yeah.
bit. All
Yeah.
right, next is the Pacers. What you got?
Okay, this is one that may. I have the Pacers at number six. I
Oh,
don't know
wow,
if that'll surprise you or not,
that's high.
but yeah, it is. I have a lot of faith in Benedict Mathurin and a lot of faith in
Tyrese.
Tyrese. I think we'll see a big change like we did out of not maybe not as drastic, but like we did out of Sacramento, even though the big thing for them was getting Sabonis.
Hmm.
What I
The
think
other
is
side of that trade was Tyrese.
the other side of that trade was Tyrese, and I think that Tyrese is a great leader from the things I've seen and how those guys react. I think their chemistry is going to be like on 10
Yeah,
almost.
yeah. Good
So,
vibes.
I I think the Pacers are going to do really well this year. I'm not really a Pacers fan, but I'm sort of rooting for them. So we'll
Yeah, I
see.
mean, they were good last year. They were like in the play-in picture for most of the season, and then after the All-Star break, Tyrese missed a lot of time, and they kind of fell out. And who knows how much of that was an injury, how much was a soft take.
Exactly.
But I'm with you. I'm excited for the Pacers. I just think there's other teams in the East that are a little bit better now, more veteran teams. But I do have them in the 9 seed. I think they'll be a play-in team for sure. They're fun to watch. Tyrese is fun to watch. He's got
Okay.
that Team USA experience now. Miles Turner had a career year last year, which people
Yeah,
don't.
he was on my fantasy team too.
Yeah,
Go Miles Turner.
people didn't notice because I don't know how many people watch the Pacers, especially these days, but I think they'll be a little bit more on the map now. They won't have that element of surprise like they had last year, kind of same with the Kings that we'll get to. But I do think they'll be a decent enough team to be around there with like the Bulls, the Hawks. They're on that same tier for me. I'm a Tyrese believer. I just think, you know, you got to take little steps whenever it comes to a competitive league like this.
I definitely think from top down, they're better than the Hawks or the Bulls. That's why I have them higher.
Do you think so? They don't have a player better than Zach Levine, though.
No, they don't. But it's like if you're adding everybody up and then you're taking the median of that, I think the Pacers are slightly higher than the
Could
Hawks and
could
then the
be,
Bulls.
could be. I don't know. I think the Pacers have a few good players. They added to, I mean, big names. Bruce Brown, obviously, a huge part of
Yeah,
the,
you don't know how much. I mean, you maybe,
yeah.
but people don't understand how much of an impact Bruce Brown
I
will have
think
on
people
a team.
saw in the
Like
finals this
no,
year.
but even going back to like Nets, Bruce Brown, like Bruce
Yeah.
Brown has been him for a minute
Yeah,
as
I've
far as
always been a
that type
fan
of
of Bruce
team
Brown.
player.
I remember last year
So
we were talking about
he does the little things, man. He
him.
does the dirty grind work,
We were
and
talking
he can
about
shoot.
him and Jokic gonna be lethal with that little like pick and roll, catching lobs and
Hmm.
stuff, and we were right, and it resulted in a championship. So Pacers shuffled out a lot of money for him, and I think that's a
Good
good
move.
signing. And then Obi Toppin as well, who I
Yeah,
think will be a lot better in this system than
fun
in
to
New York.
watch.
He is fun. I think him and Tyrese will have a great connection for years to come, honestly. So I could see the Pacers being, closer to that sixth seed, but I just put them nine for now to be safe.
I mean, Bruce Brown's a big part of. I don't want to like just talk about Bruce Brown. I'll just say one more thing. Bruce Brown's a big part of why I think they will be higher. I forgot that was one of the things I used because he can play multiple positions coming off the
Yeah,
bench too if
yeah.
needed.
We gotta
So
speed
he
this
can
up,
fill in
bro.
gaps.
We're going slow. Next up, we have Miami Heat. Your turn.
So the Heat obviously lost multiple people, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent,
Mhm.
but I still think the Heat are going to be really good because of Jimmy Butler. So I feel like it's been 4 out of the past 5 years they've made it. Is
Three
that
out
what
of
it
three
is?
out of four. Since
Yeah, three
Jimmy's
out.
been there, they made it three out of the four Jimmy years to the conference finals.
With that being said, I have the Heat number 4.
Number four. Wow.
Mhm.
So that's surprising because they were the eight seed last year, and they definitely got worse on paper. I know they added Thomas Bryant, but other than that, they've lost. They lost Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Oladipo, but they also lost Tyler Hero in a way because he was traded basically every day this summer for Damian Lillard, and then that didn't happen. So you got to imagine he's coming into this season maybe with something to prove, but definitely a little bit frustrated. At least I would be if I was in his position. Having said that, I have them as the sixth seed. I think Jimmy will try everything he can to avoid that play-in tournament again. And it is the Heat. So there's going to be at least two or three guys you never heard of who are going to have an impact this year. Um, I think they did give Caleb Martin the bag, right? So he's sticking
Yeah,
around for a little bit.
yeah,
This has got to be the year that Bam like will become the 20 and 10 guy. Definitely. Because Jimmy's 33, 34. Like he's getting up there. He's getting up there. And he's not going to want to play 82 games just to keep them in a good playoff position. So I do think
yeah,
that they're going to try to get a top six spot, but I don't think they can really be higher than a lot of these teams who made the moves that the Heat wanted to make. Maybe they go and get Malcolm Brogdon at some point. Who knows? But they missed out on Dame. They missed out on Drew Holiday. They didn't even try to get Bradley Beal, apparently. So I don't know.
that's fair. So you have them 2 spots behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I just think that maybe a few of these teams. are just a little bit worse than the Heat. So, I mean, and the Heat have one of the best coaches of all time.
You had the Heat
So let's
above the
not forget that.
Cavs this year?
Yeah,
Dang, bro. I don't know about
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Uh,
By one spot.
yeah, but
So,
the the Cavs took the starting shooting guard from the Heat. Also, is Kyle Lowry good anymore?
no, he's just the old guy now.
He missed a lot of time for like personal family issues last year, so we'll see what happens.
Well, just watching him play, he doesn't look good.
No, he
That's
didn't
what
look
I'm gonna
great. He definitely didn't look great. He had a couple games in the playoffs, but not
say.
consistently.
Yeah. All right,
Uh,
where do you have Milwaukee?
Milwaukee, I have Milwaukee number two. I think you have them number one, right? Those
Yeah.
the Celtics Bucks. The only reason I have them below the Celtics is because they're older. I think they'll rest a bit more. We saw a couple years ago too when Brooke Lopez missed like a bunch of time from back issues. They weren't they were like the three seed or something like that. And
Who did
also
Milwaukee pick up? Who was it? Chris Paul? I was so confused.
what?
Who did Milwaukee pick up this offseason?
Damian Lillard.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's what it
it's a
is.
little better than Chris Paul.
So Milwaukee number one in the East, right? We don't have to debate about it because you're wrong. They're not number two.
I
They're
have them
number
too,
one.
just because I think the Celtics are gonna try to get the one seed a little bit more. The Bucks have been the one seed three times in the Giannis era and have not made it to the finals any of those times. So I just don't think they care as much.
That's valid.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
also, is Chris Middleton gonna be Chris Middleton or is he gonna be Chris Middleton?
Well, if I don't pick him up on fantasy this year, he'll
He'll
be
probably
Chris
be good.
Middleton. Oh no, my breaking. Hold on.
Rip.
Technical difficulty.
All
All
right.
right.
Next is the Knicks.
I have the Knicks. Huh. A lot of people aren't
Do
gonna
it,
like
do
this.
it, do it.
I have the Knicks at 10.
Oh, dang. I thought you were going the other way with that.
No, definitely not. I think we're gonna see a J. Cole album in the making this year. So um I think Julius Randle's gonna fall off 100%.
How many
I
times
do.
can one guy fall off, though?
I don't know. You ever seen Ben Simmons?
That was one time.
One time for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't think Julius Randle's gonna have a good year, and I
You don't believe in
just
Jalen Brunson?
not particularly no.
You don't think he's that
Um,
guy?
no, I think he's a starting point guard for sure, and
You
I
don't think
think
he's
he's
an
good.
all-star?
Give him. I don't think I'll see the same thing this year that I saw last year.
Okay. Okay.
So
Fair. Anything else? Or may I go? Let me cook. Let me cook. I
no,
have the
you're good. Go
Knicks
ahead.
at the four seed this year. I
Holy, are
think
you
they're
getting
gonna be
crap for
good.
having Miami there? Oh
They
my
won
god.
their first playoff series for the first time since that one mellow year 11 years ago. So I do think that they're going to be good again. They seem to have a good system in place. They were third in offense last year. And to your credit, some of that was like Julius Randle hitting those hard contested middies. And it seems to be like good year, bad year with Randle. So maybe this is a bad year, but maybe not. And I do think Jalen Brunson playing with Team USA, getting some of that experience will help him. RJ Barrett, this is kind of make or break for him. I think he was inconsistent last year, to say the least, but then come like, especially the Miami series, he was pretty good in the playoffs. So I think he could step into a more prominent role, maybe be that 20 point per game scorer that they thought he'd be
Hmm.
quickly. I think it's still good. Really, they lost Obi Toppin and Derrick Rose, but for the most part, they're the same team. If Mitchell Robinson stays healthy, they'll be a good, pretty much is what it comes down to on the defensive end, at least. He doesn't stay healthy all the time, but every year,
No,
like this year, players are more incentivized to play, right? So maybe that'll help. I don't know. I just think that the Knicks maybe not repeating the playoff success necessarily, but in the regular season, I see them being better than a lot of these teams we've talked about so far. Dante DiVincenzo, and last year at the trade deadline, they picked up Josh Hart, who helped them tremendously.
Well, I mean, maybe the Knicks will be number one. You've seen Jimmy's top five, so who knows? All right.
Yeah. But nah,
Next
Dante, they got the Villanova guys back together, so we'll see. I think it'll be good.
is Orlando next?
No.
Who's next?
Yes, it's Orlando, my bad.
I was like, wait a second.
So I go first,
Uh,
right? This time?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Orlando, I have 12th. They're a fun team,
Mm,
man. I really like them. I loved watching them last year. I just don't think they're as good as the teams ahead of them. It's as simple as that. They also lost Bobo, which is kind of an L in my book. That's all. I mean, Franz Wagner, great player. Paolo, rookie of the year. He'll probably be better. Seems like he's better so far in the preseason. Did you see him
yeah,
cross Zion and then dunk on Valanciunas? That was nasty. That was nasty.
I did not see that actually.
Yeah, that's all I really have to say.
Where I think I have Orlando higher than you, higher than most people probably. I just think they were so fun to watch last year, but towards the end of the year, you started seeing the chemistry happen, and then they slowed it down a bit. They were still like a fast team, but they slowed it down a bit, and they were getting really good at getting into clutch situations and then winning clutch situations.
Yeah.
So I have the Magic at number 9.
Okay. I could
Yeah.
see it. If everything breaks right for them, I could see it.
A lot of this is going off of what I feel like is going to go right for
Hmm.
one team and wrong for another team. Like we
Yeah,
said, it's like really going to come down to injuries and who's playing and
for
who's not.
sure. Is Markel gonna stay healthy this year? He was healthy for a good chunk last year and
I
was a
mean,
good player.
you saw spurts. Is Cole Anthony still there?
He's still around.
Because you saw spurts of him last year. You're like, dang, my
Yeah,
man looks good.
yeah.
So I don't know.
They have a decent guard rotation for sure.
I think
Okay.
we have just a couple left.
We do have just a couple
Um,
left.
is it
Next, next is
Philly
the
or
Sixers. Yeah. So Philly, this is
I?
kind of
My
hard.
turn, sorry.
It's not your turn. You went
Yeah.
first for the Magic.
No, you went first for
Oh, okay,
Magic.
well
You
there you
said
go.
12.
You go.
Remember?
Yeah.
You're wild. You just like to talk a lot. Um, we got Philly at number 3. So I like Philly. I think Philly's gonna be solid. Well, I don't like Philly. I actually despise Philly. And Nikola Jokic is way better than Joel Embiid. But Joel Embiid, obviously really good. I think they have good pieces. I think they have a
Better
decent
coach.
coach. Yep. So I think we're gonna see really good things out of Philly. I got them at number 3.
I couldn't hardly rank them because we don't know what's happening with James Harden. Is he gonna be
Yeah.
there?
Well, that's why I didn't mention James Harden.
If he's not there, there's no way they're gonna be better than the Cavs in my book. So I kind of assume he's gonna be out the door, or at least playing like 1 foot out the door. So I have the Sixers at 5 for the, and this is even kind of without Harden, a best case scenario for Embiid. I could see them falling off completely, like mailing it in. I don't know. But if it's an Embiid revenge season where he's playing with like that aggression and kind of like how he was the first few years in the league without Doc Rivers coaching him, then I think they
Mhm.
could be good. Definitely Nick Nurse coaching Embiid will be interesting because Nick Nurse is kind of like Tibbs in the sense where he'll run his guys to the ground, which you don't really want with Embiid, but he's been healthy the last several seasons. You know, like you said, MVP last year. I don't really think it's a debate anymore who's the best center in the league. I think 99% of people would say Jokic at the moment. But if it's an Embiid revenge season, then that could be really fun to watch too. I just don't think that they're as he needs someone else, and it's not going to be Harden. Maxi's good, but I don't think Embiid and Maxi is a good enough duo to be better than like some of these other duos. Definitely not like a Giannis Dame, Tatum Brown, none of
Right.
those guys. So,
That's
yeah,
fair.
5 for me.
That's fair. I mean, we were pretty close. So,
Yep,
Toronto and then Washington, right?
that's right. So Toronto. This is tough. I had them 11.
That's what I
I
have them.
yeah, I it's tough, man, because they don't seem to be on the same page at all right now. Bringing in a rookie head coach, Siakam is kind of talking out of both sides of his mouth. Where on the one hand, he's saying like he wants to stay in Toronto, he doesn't want to get traded, but then he's also saying, "I'm testing free agency no matter what. I'm not glued to this place long term." They lost Fred. They're going to be running Scotty at the one a lot more, which I'm excited for, but it could go horribly wrong. They have Schroeder now, who's a pretty good player, but he's definitely not like Fred level, not like Kyle of all days level. So I don't, it's too much overlap with their three best players all playing the same position. One of them at least has to go this season, I think, and I could see them just like trading everyone. So I don't think they'll make the play-in tournament. I have them 11.
I have them 11 as well. Pretty much everything you said. And then number 12 or last, I have Washington,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So Washington is 13th for me.
13th. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
I have them 15th.
Dang.
I think they're gonna be a really
You
fun
don't you
15
don't have
seed.
you don't have faith in Kuz and Jordan Poole?
I have faith in them scoring. I don't have faith in them stopping anybody.
That's fair.
It's going to be a 100 to
I mean,
70, 100 to 69 game. I
yeah.
bet. So I don't know. They're going to be fun. They're going to be the most fun 15 seed in a long time, probably, but they're not going to be good.
Nah, I don't think they're gonna be good. But I don't think they're I mean, I think Charlotte's gonna be way worse. Charlotte's gonna look
Could be.
atrocious.
Good. I think
But
LaMelo's better than anyone on the Wizards, though.
he's not better than Kyle Kuzma.
He's not better than Denny Avita.
It was hard to say that.
All right.
I
Well,
don't believe what I just said.
that's the Eastern Conference. I'll run through my standings real quick, and then you can run through yours. I have
Okay.
Boston number one, Milwaukee
Hmm.
number two, Cleveland three, New York, Philly, Miami, Hawks, Bulls, and then the bottom seven. I have the Pacers, the Nets, the Raptors, the Magic, the Hornets, the Pistons, and the Wizards. Really, those bottom three are kind of interchangeable, but yeah, that's my list.
I mean, we were pretty close. Milwaukee won, Boston two, Philly three, and then Miami, Cleveland, Pacers. That's where it gets a little iffy for you.
Hmm.
And then I have the Bulls, the Hawks, the Magic, the Knicks, the Nets, um, the Wizards, the Pistons, and then the Charlotte Hornets.
Nice. All
Yes,
right, that's
sir.
the Eastern Conference. You ready to move on to the West?
Yeah.